Yikes, welcome back to the channel. Please like and subscribe to the channel if you like the content. Here we go. Part 1 of our 3-part series in debunking the myths that are out there on social media regarding your DNR. We're going to focus on this video on the Maryland Department of Natural Resources and their stocking program. Okay, a lot of myths out there on social media that Maryland DNR has not been stocking largemouth bass, has not been doing anything in terms of on the stocking front. All of these things that are always out there that people want to break things against, and it's usually always the Maryland DNR, okay, or the Virginia DNR, right? It's just always that. But the facts are out there. You just have to be willing to find them. And the DNR has been stocking for the last 2.5 years. If you think about it, since COVID began, most people do not realize that the Maryland DNR has stocked the Potomac River almost a half a dozen times with various size bass, okay? And the Potomac is blowing out right now. It's an outstanding fishery, okay? And so, but a lot of people don't see that. A lot of people just think, oh, there's nothing happening. It's not really, going down. They're not really doing their research. Maybe the communication's not there between the state agencies and the actual citizens. But social media compounds the problem when people are out there talking about how DNR is not really committed to a non-trout stocking program, and you have groups like the trout community that are very entrenched politically and very active politically, and the bass community, which is not. They're really not engaged politically. And so, the information just isn't making its way or disseminating itself down to the average bass angler to really understand the commitment that Maryland DNR has been addressing. And it's just there if you want to see. If you go on to Maryland.gov and you hit the Department of Natural Resources and do tidal bass stocking, you can see that just since COVID, what's been happening here, okay? Now, this is just since COVID. So we'll scroll down to like June of 2020. In the last 2 years, Mattawoman, Piscataway, Potomac River, Gunpowder River, Potomac, Gunpowder. Look at these numbers. 8,900, 21,000, 18,600. Look at the number that is being stocked. Now, is the stocking successful is a totally another, issue. There is a commitment by Maryland DNR. Okay, there is funding. They are stocking bass, not just trout in the western part of the state. That gets a lot of the focus. But a lot of it also has to do with the environmental impacts that we're seeing in these fisheries here today. Like Piscataway right now, lack of grass. Probably won't see restocking there. If there's no grass to support the bass population, they're not going to restock. They're not going to stock there again. There are other issues that need to be addressed in order for them to understand that they're going to have confidence that their actual stocking is going to have a high level of success, right? You've got spawning propagation. You've got a lot of factors, coming into play when it comes time for them to decide where they're going to allocate the actual species from the hatcheries in Maryland that they have and what those numbers actually are, okay? There has always been electrofishing, removing bass from river systems to the hatchery, spawn them to propagate and do all that. That's been going on for decades, okay? And sometimes it's successful, sometimes it's not. I mean, so much of that is predicated on the timing. A lot of times, a lot of the stocking gets done during the late summer and into the fall, obviously for trout and things like that. But so much of it is predicated on your involvement. If you are a bass angler in the mid-Atlantic, I cannot stress to you enough, you have to get involved. You have to become a voice. And that is something that the black bass community really doesn't have. Most people in Maryland, for example, have no idea who is on the black bass committee, right? Advisory committee. They have no idea who those folks are. You need to find out. I'll publish who those folks are. You need to reach out to those folks. You need to engage those folks in the same way the trout community does in order for your interests to be heard. And so you can see things change